I will also do shortly, so that we don't have any background noise, which is very, very distracting. Our speaker for tonight is Dave C. Welcome, Dave C. After 15 minutes, our timer, who is, what's our timer? Roger. Our timer, let's see, after 15 minutes, our timer, Roger, will give you a gentle buzzer warning 5 minutes before the 20-minute time limit. Can we record your voice and post it on our YouTube channel, Dave?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So please make sure that you are unmuted and switch to gallery view after our Zoom co-host spotlights you so you are not distracted. Feel free to begin your share now. Zoom co-host, please spotlight our speaker. Take it away.
Recording in progress.
Thanks. Dave C., compulsive overeater, and I haven't shared my experience, strength, and hope in this meeting for a while. I didn't. Let's get some numbers out of the way. I just turned 71 when I was when I came into OA on November 28th, 2015. It was also the day I became abstinent. And I weighed about 325, maybe 335 pounds. I just kept saying the scale was broken, you know. Just usually, not everything, because I got into the habit of weighing myself too much, but today I'm very close to the weight the doctors, they're saying I'm supposed to be. And I'm 169.5 pounds today. All I know is I can now fit into a 34-inch pair of jeans. That makes me happy. I grew up in Oklahoma. I was born and raised in Oklahoma City. And I never really had a problem with food when I was younger. It's a phenomena that happened as I got older. And I was going to share some photographs with you, if I can. This was me in third grade. I was not an overweight kid. My mother was very strict with food in our house, and you wouldn't dare go open the refrigerator to get something out of it to feed yourself with. And there weren't ever any leftovers. She cooked exactly what the four of us were going to eat. And that was the only thing that happened was we had to eat everything that she gave us. And, as a kid, I hated Brussels sprouts. This is me at the age of 15 or 16. It was just before I went to the military academy. And again, see, I was a normal-sized person at the time. I wasn't normal by any stretch of the imagination. My drug of choice was drugs. And I tried almost all of them. But I did get heavy after I got married in 1976, 75. I started gaining weight. And it wasn't because she was a great cook, because I did most of the cooking. She'd have boil hot dogs. And I now claim it just basic depression. I am gay. I have known ever since that third grade picture that I was gay. Didn't know what they called it then. Back then it was not very good words they called it. It was a real problem being that person in a local church in the South. And So I hid who I was. I didn't want to get beat up. I didn't want to get hurt. And I was pretty positive that my parents would have thrown me out, whatever age I told them. I don't have a picture of my highest weight because it shocked me so bad when I saw it that I ripped it up and threw it away. I wish I had scanned it. I was over. I keep saying a number and it keeps crawling up because I have no idea what my weight was. I know that I weighed, our scale at home went to 350. It was one of those big health meters scales, but it didn't tag, and it would go all the way around the circle, back up past 0 to 20 or 25. I have no idea what that meant. I tried to figure it out with arcs and stuff. I don't do that. So I just say over 420 pounds. I know that I had almost a 60-inch waist. The last pair of pants, slacks I bought, were bought for me, were 60-inch. And it was miserable. It was a miserable existence to be obese. Rashes in uncomfortable places. Personal hygiene was out the window. And I worked in Manhattan, and I had to get up earlier than I needed to so I could catch the train into Manhattan early enough so that there weren't so many people on it and I could get a seat. My back was hurting, my knees were hurting. Not a very good thing. And at one point at that time, I decided, you know what, I'm going to lose weight. I read about this guy that was a cross-country runner, or he began cross-country running, and his attitude was, I'll either get healthy or it'll kill me. And I pretty much took the same attitude. I mean, I wouldn't have done it, I wasn't suicidal, but I was miserable enough I didn't care how that turned out. My family was well taken care of, insurances, and I was sitting at home and I saw an exercise machine, and I bought it. Thought, wow, that's great. Everybody loses weight on that. So it came, and I wasn't cord enough to do the cross-country skiing, so it went back. And then I saw another one. It was kind of like a bicycle, but it was also kind of like a seesaw. And I started working out on that. 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week. And I was discouraged because I couldn't do it for more than 5 or 6 minutes at a time. And I don't know, maybe back then it was my higher power said, well, don't give up. Didn't say you had to do all 20 minutes at the same time. So that's how I started, was 5 or 6 minutes, I'd rest, do it. And I was doing about maybe 30 minutes a day, and then I started doing it every day. And that 30 minutes, and then I started to see some improvement in my physique, my body image, and it just made it even that much more desirable. And I would then go to 45 minutes and do an hour or an hour and a half on the weekends when I wasn't working. And that got to the point where I didn't live so far away from where I worked. And I might have a 2-hour, 3-hour period before my next class. And I would go to the apartment and exercise for at least an hour and a half, or an hour. So I was exercising probably 6 hours a day during the week, and probably more than that, 10, maybe more on the weekends. And I was losing weight. It was about the time that I came out, and got divorced. And all of you know who I'm talking about. I met the man that I'm still with 28 years later, and that was the end of that. I mean, that was what happened. I came out. So I kept doing this exercise routine, and I was getting really thin, I was told. But what I saw was that looked pretty good. You know, when you sit down without a shirt, you might have a little roll of skin. I was like 42, 43. Might have a little roll of skin. And I would see that, and I freaked because I was gaining weight. Every time I walked by a mirror in the apartment or anywhere, especially walking down the street in Manhattan, you see your reflection in the mirrors in the windows there all the time. I saw this 400-pound person walking down the sidewalk, not what I look like now. And so I would just keep eating. I was eating pretty healthy food, but I was also doing so much exercise that I could have eaten just about anything I wanted. And I was exercising off the excess calories. At one point, I was probably consuming, well, again, I didn't do much counting, but it probably over 3,200 calories a day. You all are the first group I've ever showed this picture to. That was me in it was upstate New York. I think it was 1993. And I weighed 157 pounds. Now, the shirt keeps you from seeing what I actually look like. Not to be, I don't mean this in any way odd, but I look like a concentration camp survivor. That's what I look like. That's why my oldest son came in Manhattan, because I'd left something, and they found it when they moved, and they brought it into me, and I thought the ex-wife was going to faint when she saw what I looked like. And got her in the house, and then my boy turns around, and he's never been mad at me like this before, and he accused me of divorcing their mother, so because I had AIDS and I didn't want the family to see me die of AIDS, and I didn't have AIDS. But it shocked me quite a bit when he said this, and it was kind of like a weight loss intervention, and everyone made me promise to put on 20 pounds, at least get up to 180, which is a good weight for me. I'm 5'10", or I was back then. It's not a bad weight, and I've been that weight several times since then, and it's always felt comfortable. But that's what I look like. We decided we were going to buy well, actually, I don't have pictures of that. We moved to Oklahoma. I got a job teaching at a college, computer stuff. I know, go figure. And Butch did too, so we moved to Oklahoma. Not a really great place for a long-term partner, long-term relationship, a gay relationship to be. The state and everybody else in the state is very homophobic, but we found that the people weren't. The people that we worked with, everyone knew that we were together, we were gay, we were a couple. We came and went, we lived in, it was obvious. Nobody ever gave us any trouble about it. But it wasn't a very pleasant place, and it was really hot. In 2012, and I'm sorry I don't have the whole picture, I was ashamed of it, so I cropped it. But that's me in about May of 2012. And I probably weighed close to 380 pounds, maybe 370 pounds. Again, not caring. And by this time I heard of OA when I first met Butch. And I thought, okay, I'll go with him. I had no idea what it was. And he said, you gotta remember, don't act like a tourist. And I didn't understand what he meant, but he was describing to me and explaining anonymity, and that we have no stars or celebrities in OA, or any 12-step program for that matter. And sure enough, that first night we went to one, the person that's shared their experience, Strength and Hope, you'd recognize in an instant. That's just part of living in Manhattan. So, in August of this year, after this picture was taken, a wildfire came through our part of Oklahoma. We were living out on 10 acres, nice place, 6 dogs, 5 cats. It was great. And the friend called and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Watching the Tarzan Marathon on AMC." He said, "No, what are you doing there?" And come to find out, we'd always smelled smoke every summer. But this particular time, it was worse. It was a massive wildfire. Someone had gone down a dirt road and flicked a lit cigarette into dry grassland. It was probably drier that summer than it was during the Dust Bowl, because the Dust Bowl.
Dave, you got 5 minutes left.
Okay. And so we moved to New York, and that's what I looked like when we moved here. And again, miserable person, overweight, and I saw nothing that was going to stop that. And finally, in 2015, I admitted that I needed help. I was a compulsive overeater, and my first food that I had to give up was sugar. I'm a big sugar addict, and I say "am" because I believe, for me, even if you're not using the drug or whatever it is that you're addicted to, the addict is always there. I'm always going to be a compulsive overeater. And nothing I can do will stop me from being a compulsive overeater. I might not act on it because I'm in a 12-step program. Same way with cigarettes. I thought I quit one time, I thought I could just have one. And within 2 weeks of that first cigarette, I was smoking, 2 packs a day, just like normal. So I don't think of myself ever graduating. There is no graduation ceremony in OA. This is a lifelong journey for me, and I have success and I have failures, just like everyone else in the program. Constantly working on my 10th step. I go to a specific meeting for its maintenance, and so we discussed 10, 11, and 12. I was active in our group, in my phone meeting group. I was active in our inner group, and active at the World Business Conference, and currently I'm active in the virtual region. Do several things there, but mostly I just take care of their website. And for me, service is, like I was saying at the beginning during the tool, I kind of switched tools there, that it was important to do service. For me, I have to do service. I just have to be careful not to do too much. And it took me a long time to learn that no is a complete answer. In fact, now my sponsor is also my service sponsor. I'd never heard of it before, but someone I asked to do something said, "Well, I'll have to check with my service sponsor." I thought, wow, that's a good idea. I don't accept any service positions without his okay. Because I'm going to say yes, because that's one of my character defects. I'm a people pleaser. I want everybody to like me. And it was a hard lesson, and I kind of learned it when I came out, that other people's opinions of me are none of my business. Can't change them, and don't want to. I'm not going to change who I am for anyone. I'm not going to change my food plan. I'm not going to change my higher power. I'm not going to make any changes that I can make because someone else doesn't think it's right. In fact, at the World Business Conference, the diversity policy has been changed. It has 4 or 5 new paragraphs added to it, and made sure that every group, they were going to rip everything out of it that they put in I guess 2017 or something, 2018. But instead, the motion passed. It added more to it. Basically, the first paragraph's the same, but it goes on to continue to talk about that. And it's my part. What I do now, I am OCD, and if OA has a recommendation that something should be done a certain way, I look to see if I can do that or not. If I'm willing to do it. For me, that willingness is part of step 3. I have to be willing to do what my higher power expects me to do. And
One
that
minute.
day 12 step, that day 12 step's going away, but I'll let everybody know when it changes. Because it's not what OA recommends for a OA email, for me. That's for me. So anyway, my hope is that OA can grow and be here for the next generation and their generation, next generation, and the next generation. And it's the numbers are shocking. How many meetings we've lost, intergroups that have stopped, and a lot of it had to do with COVID, I'm sure. A lot of people stopped being a meeting because they went to Zoom, like this meeting did, and but the numbers, the virtual world is rising, and the face-to-face world is not. And
30 seconds, Dave.
If you haven't heard, I'll put a plug in for the virtual trustee. The board of trustees just okayed a definition of what a hybrid meeting is. And I'll put that in the chat. And so with that, my phone number is 518